Coming up on MilCyberSync, we've got the latest Russia-Ukraine cyber war coverage. But first,
we'll be joined by Billingsley, the Chief Operating Officer of the Military Cyber Professionals Association, to share everything you need to know about HammerCon.
I'm looking forward to that. Plus, a major acquisition by Google to help bolster cloud security. So get ready to get in sync with MilCyberSync.
You're watching the MilCyberSync Weekly News with your host, Nick Thomas, and news anchor, Layla Gulen.
Hello and welcome to the MilCyberSync podcast, reporting on events for the week ending March 11th. I'm news anchor Layla Gulen with your host, Nick Thomas. Nick, how are you doing?
Hey, Layla, I'm doing great, and we'd like to start off by welcoming our first guest. I'm so pleased to have join us the Chief Operating Officer of the Military Cyber Professionals Association, Billingsley, to tell us about all the amazing things that the MCPA is doing, especially the upcoming convention by Fort Meade. Hey, Christine, how's it going?
Hi, Nick. I'm wonderful. A big congrats to you on the launch of MilCyberSync. Everyone at the MCPA is really pumped about it.
Thanks so much, Christine. I'm excited about it too. So tell us and our audience about MCPA and HammerCon.
Well, Nick, the MCPA has been around for about 10 years, and it's a 501c3 national nonprofit and charity. We're dedicated to developing American military cyber professionals, investing in our nation's future through STEM education. We've got a bunch of programs from publications to a recognition medal, chapters, events, and more.
Now, Christine, speaking of events, before we get into the convention, why don't you tell me a little bit about what the organization did during the pandemic?
Sure. Well, we originally planned for our national convention for the summer of 2020, and, we had to put that on pause due to COVID. But we still wanted to do something for our members, so we pivoted, and we established a weekly educational virtual gathering called the Lockdown Lunch and Learn, or 3L as we like to call it. We've had a lot of amazing speakers, and this coming Tuesday is going to be our 100th presentation before we retire the program. And we wanted to end on a high note as the country is finally getting back into the swing of things with more in-person events.
Wow, Christine. So 100 weeks straight, that's so great. I remember logging into a number of those and was always blown away by the quality of the speakers and engagement by the audience. And kudos to you for running that effort.
Thanks, Nick. There were many highlights. My own personal favorite episodes were our 50th, which featured Jeff Moss, the Dark Tangent, being introduced by Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery of the U.S. Cyberspace Solarium Commission. We had another fun one happened for the May 4th, Star Wars Day. So we had a space theme with talks by Major General Kimberly Creeder, the Senior Cyber Officer at Space Force, and Master Guns Scott Stalker, the Senior Enlisted Leader at Space Command, previously at Cyber Command and NSA. Truly spectacular times, or at least as good as we could make them in the middle of a global pandemic.
That's really impressive.
Absolutely. That venue really propelled us through those tough times to where we are now. And we've decided it's now the right time to go ahead and do our first convention. We have the gracious hosts of Capital Technology University over in Laurel, Maryland, not too far from Fort Meade. And like us, they're very STEM oriented and military friendly.
That's great, and thanks from all of us who work on Fort Meade. That location is really accessible without the kind of traffic you see in DC. So tell me more about the convention.
So this is our first national convention, and it's called HammerCon, in honor of Thor's hammer, which is the tool that can both build and destroy, just like cyberspace. Our Order of Thor medal is an important way that excellence is recognized across the military cyber community. A lot of folks across this community have really latched on to the symbol and just think it's fun.
And that's what it's all about, right? Have a great time together and while also learning and networking.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have so many things planned for HammerCon. It's really more of an experience. We have lots of awesome speakers, which you can check out on our website, hammercon.org. We have exhibitors from across the wider community. Not just people trying to sell you things, I swear. We're bringing in some elements from other cons with a version specialized for this particular community. We're going to be having Hacker Jeopardy with GMark. The Career Hacking Village will be there, as well as the IoT, and so much more. Mission Barbecue will even be there with some great barbecue to feed folks.
Oh, awesome. Now you're talking my language. Will the Mission Barbecue truck be there as well?
Oh, you know it, Nick. And we'll even have some cyber bourbon from Tobacco Barn Distillery, too.
All right. Wow. So where can people sign up for this?
You can find all the information about the MCPA at public.milcyber.org and information about the conference at hammercon.org. We've got a few hundred seats left, so people just need to sign up and reserve theirs soon.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Christine. How much is it to attend?
It's absolutely free for all U.S. military personnel and MCPA members. Everyone else can find all of the details on the site.
And when is it again?
It's Thursday, May 19th of 2022, all day. Check-in begins at 7:30 and the evening reception will end at 7 p.m.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to it. You can meet me and Christine there on 19 May in Laurel. Okay, Christine, thanks for the updates and thanks for everything you're doing.
Thanks, Nick.
Yes, thank you so much, Christine. Well, we've got more to come, war zone coverage, and the latest companies to pull out of Russia. Don't go anywhere.
Today's network and security monitoring solutions are vulnerable to overload situations that lead to decreased visibility and undetected intrusions. Monitoring applications require hardware to keep up with real-time traffic analysis, making it complex and costly. Your security monitoring solutions may be unable to keep up during cyber attacks or traffic spikes, making intrusion more likely. A new approach is needed to increase network protection and visibility. Accelio simplifies and streamlines your network monitoring for critical security, network, and application analysis. Learn more at Accelio.com.
Welcome back. As Russia's ground invasion and air assault against Ukraine continues, so too do the online attacks being launched against Ukrainian websites. Ukraine's government websites and infrastructure providers have faced repeated probes and distributed denial of service attacks. The country has also been targeted with similar wiper malware used in 2015 and 2016 that cut power to parts of Ukraine, causing commercial damage of up to $10 billion. Ukraine continues to receive assistance in defending its networks, including from the EU's Cyber Rapid Response Team. Layla?
Well, a self-organized swarm of Ukrainian hackers have been leveraging the Telegram app to block disinformation, alert people of Russian troop location, and assemble Molotov cocktail attacks. Ukraine's 100-strong volunteer hacker army is proving to be a force to be reckoned with in Europe's first major war of the internet age. From software tools that let smartphone and computer owners anywhere participate in distributed denial of service attacks on official Russian websites to opening access to basic first aid, the movement has turned global. Donations from the global IT community have continued to pour in, including Namecheap donating internet domains, while Amazon has been generous with cloud services. Nick?
Russian cyber attacks on Ukraine could impact other countries. At least 3 or 4 have been tracked so far, while Congress is keeping abreast of direct and indirect risks to Americans and national security for the next year. In an annual threat assessment report, China is named as the U.S.'s greatest cyber threat. It also deems Russia a top cyber threat that is focused on improving its ability to target critical infrastructure. U.S. officials say the two countries continue deepening diplomatic, defense, and technology cooperation to challenge the U.S. Multiple lawmakers also asked about concerns that Russia might use cryptocurrency to evade the international sanctions. Classified briefings are set to follow. Layla?
Meanwhile, U.S. and NATO officials are increasingly looking to sharpen their sanctions against Moscow. The Biden administration is now requesting $10 billion in emergency funds to address Russia's campaign, with sizable funds for cybersecurity. In addition, $30 million of those dollars have been earmarked for the Department of Energy to support the integration of Ukraine's electric grid with the European network of transmission system operators for electricity. And $19 million million for Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN, would support its Bank Secrecy Act mission that it says is critical for carrying out targeted financial measures against Russia. However, Ukrainian government requested that the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, or ICANN, suspend the Russian domain .ru, but was rejected. Nick?
Electric and internet isolation in Ukraine has spurred a new bipartisan legislation focused on providing cellular and internet connectivity in war zones. The Safely Assessing Telecommunications Act would allow the Departments of Defense and State to contract telecommunications companies to help provide internet and broadband access to regions in conflict. Provisions included in the bill would authorize humanitarian and military aid from the U.S. to embattled ally nations, endpoint telecommunications infrastructure procurement, and cover contract reimbursements. Layla?
Well, leading Russian banks are looking into using a Chinese payment rival, UnionPay, after Visa and MasterCard suspended operations. Additionally, all the big global accounting firms, including Ernst & Young and Deloitte, said that they would pull out of Russia in the latest corporate fallout over the invasion of Ukraine. KPMG and PricewaterhouseCoopers have also announced their exits from Russia. A host of other foreign companies have suspended financial services in Russia, including Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. That has left Russian banks scrambling to find new ways to facilitate cross-border payments. Russia's largest bank, Sberbank and Tinkoff Bank, said that they are considering the possibility of payment cards powered by China's UnionPay system. Major brands from Apple to Shell and IKEA are also exiting the country. UnionPay benefits from its position as a payment monopoly bolstered by the large Chinese population and the world's second largest economy, helping it to grow into a serious rival to Visa and MasterCard. Nick?
Well, no movie night in Russia. Netflix and TikTok have also suspended most of their services in Russia. Pulling the plug on online entertainment and information is likely to further isolate the country and its people after a growing number of multinational businesses have cut off Russia from vital financial products, technology, and a variety of consumer products. Providers of the internet-based services and apps have been mostly reluctant to take actions that could deprive Russian citizens of social media services and other sources of information. Netflix didn't specify a reason for suspending services Sunday except to say it reflected circumstances on the ground. The company had previously said it would refuse to air Russian state TV channels. TikTok said Russian users of its popular social media app would no longer be able to post videos or live streams, and they also wouldn't be able to see videos shared from elsewhere in the world.
Chinese cyber espionage group Mustang Panda has been targeting European diplomats with an updated variant of the Plug X backdoor. Also known as Red Delta and TA416, the group was previously observed targeting entities connected to the Vatican, Chinese Communist Party, diplomatic relations, as well as telecommunications companies in Asia, Europe, and the U.S. Believed to be operating on behalf of the Chinese government, Mustang Panda has been using web bugs to perform reconnaissance operations. This means the group is being more discerning about which targets the group chooses to deliver malware payloads. The web bug technique involves embedding within the body of the phishing email a hyperlinked non-visible object that attempts to retrieve an image from a remote server. This confirms to the attackers that the victim is using the targeted email account. Nick?
Google says it has blocked a phishing campaign originating from China and aimed at Gmail users associated with the U.S. government. The attacks happened last month and were completely blocked. An APT-31 phishing campaign targeting high-profile Gmail users affiliated with the U.S. government was detected, but all of these emails were automatically classified as spam and blocked by Gmail. Also tracked as Zirconium, Judgment Panda, and Red Carries, the Chinese hacking group is known for the targeting of entities in the U.S., Canada, and various European countries. The group also targeted Russia last year. So far, there's no evidence that these attacks are related to the war in Ukraine. The internet giant also says that it has observed numerous distributed denial of service attacks targeted Ukrainian sites over the past couple of weeks, and that it will continue to monitor activity related to Ukraine and Russia. Layla?
Yeah. A Ukrainian man appeared before a U.S. court this week to face charges over his role in ransomware attacks, including last year's hack of IT software company Kaseya. The 22-year-old was extradited to the U.S. from Poland and made an initial appearance in a court in the Northern District of Texas. The arrests were linked to the Russian-based hacker group Revel. According to the indictment, the hacker accessed the computer networks of several companies and deployed Revel ransomware to encrypt their data. Among the companies targeted was Kaseya, which provides IT services to some 40,000 businesses globally. Charges include conspiracy to commit fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. He could face up to 115 years in prison. Nick?
The FBI has published an alert to provide additional information on the Ragnar Locker ransomware, along with indicators of compromise associated with the malware. Active since the spring of 2020, the ransomware has been involved in numerous cyber attacks, including the attack on Capcom in November 2020. At least 52 entities across 10 critical infrastructure sectors have been infected with this malware family, including organizations in the energy, financial services, government, IT, and manufacturing industries. Ragnar Locker ransomware actors work as part of a ransomware family, frequently changing obfuscation techniques to avoid detection and prevention. The FBI has also provided a series of recommendations on how organizations can stay safe from ransomware and also encourages businesses to report any ransomware attacks. Layla?
Yeah, and a naval warfare official says the American public plays a vital role in the war effort and that the area of cybersecurity must enlist support from all sectors of society, particularly in the civil service. Eric Gardner is now director of the Palmetto Tech Bridge at Naval Information Warfare Center Atlantic and says government employees are also warfighters in this technological domain and are on the front lines of defense when it comes to cyber and operating in the information environment. To keep pace with near-peer competitors, a dynamic cross-team collaboration and private sector partnerships offer the most promising measures for hardening the nation's cyber defenses. Navalex sought culture change across the Department of the Navy and established the concept of a tech bridge to forge a new way for the Navy to bridge the gap between innovators of emerging technologies off base and naval mission owners on base, developing solutions for the warfighter. Since then, tech bridges have stood up alongside naval installations nationwide and around the world, including Japan and London. Nick?
NSA warns of developing a software monoculture when designing network architecture. The guide urges the implementation of multiple layers of next-generation firewalls throughout the network to restrict inbound traffic, restrict outbound traffic, and examine all internal activity between disparate network regions. CISA re-released its guidance for mitigating Russian state-sponsored cyber threats to U.S. critical infrastructure earlier this year, while noting a proclivity for attacking the operational technology in industrial control systems like those that run in pipeline and water treatment facilities. Layla?
Yeah, the Office of Management and Budget says federal agencies must immediately adopt guidance on software supply chain security. For government buyers, this means starting the process of putting the secure software development framework from the National Institute of Standards and Technology into practice. Under the framework, buyers are required to obtain attestations that software products conform to certain development best practices as a way of ensuring a secure software supply chain. Per a 2021 executive order, the software supply chain security requirements extends to new acquisitions and legacy software that comes up for renewal. Although waivers are available, the development best practices named by NIST include but aren't limited to using secure development environments, using multi-factor authentication and risk-based authentication across the developer enterprise, encrypting data, and having a system in place on the developer side to log and respond to cyber incidents. Nick?
Cloudflare, CrowdStrike, and Ping Identity Corp are teaming up to form the Critical Infrastructure Defense Project that offers free cybersecurity services to vulnerable industries. The project is designed to enhance defenses against critical areas of enterprise risk. Under the project, eligible organizations will have access to the full suite of Cloudflare Cloudflare, Zero Trust Security Solutions, Endpoint Protection and Intelligence Services from CrowdStrike, and Zero Trust Identity Solutions from Ping Identity. The project will also offer an easy-to-follow roadmap that businesses in any industry can use to implement step-by-step security measures to defend themselves from cyber attacks. Layla?
Tech giant Google has agreed to acquire cybersecurity firm Mandiant in an all-cash deal valued at about $5.4 billion. The official announcement came shortly after rumors emerged earlier this week. Google Cloud is said to be looking to boost its security capabilities so it can better compete with rivals such as Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure. Microsoft was also believed to have made an offer, but to buy Mandiant. Microsoft's security business has grown exponentially and announced new multi-cloud capabilities in Defender for Cloud that allow it to protect workloads across AWS and Google Cloud in addition to Azure. Mandiant is considered a premier incident response firm tracking advanced nation-state threat group activity and was originally acquired by FireEye in December 2013. The two firms were split apart in late 2021. Mandiant has more than 600 consultants and 300 intelligence analysts that respond to thousands of security incidents each year, including many of the highest profile attacks. Nick?
Linux has yet another high-severity vulnerability that makes it easy for untrusted users to execute code capable of carrying out a host of malicious actions. Named Dirty Pipe, it is among the most serious Linux threats to be disclosed since 2016. These attacks include installing backdoors, creating unauthorized user accounts, and modifying scripts or binaries used by privileged services or apps. The name Dirty Pipe provides clues about the new vulnerability's origin. Pipe refers to a pipeline, a Linux mechanism for one OS process to send data to another process. In essence, a pipeline is two or more processes that are chained together so that the output text of one process is passed directly as input to the next one. Other malicious actions enabled by Dirty Pipe include creating a cron job that runs as a backdoor, adding a new user account to the Etsy password and Etsy shadow, giving the new account root privileges, or modifying a script or binary used by a privileged service. Layla?
Finally, President Joe Biden has signed an executive order on cryptocurrency that tackles consumer protection, financial stability, national security, and climate risks. The administration calls it the first whole-of-government strategy to rein in cryptocurrencies. The new directive addresses risks and harnesses potential benefits of digital assets and their underlying technology. Today's digital assets market has experienced explosive growth, passing the $3 trillion market cap in November 2021. Approximately 16% of all adult Americans, or 40 million people, invest in, trade, or use cryptocurrencies. The order directs the Department of the Treasury and partners to address the implications of the growing digital asset sector and changes in financial markets. It encourages regulators to ensure sufficient oversight and guard against systemic risks. On the prospects of a digital dollar, the new order places urgency on additional research and development toward a U.S. version, as some 100 nations worldwide have explored or pursued trials with a digital dollar. The U.S. Central Bank would likely not be the issuer of such digital wallets. Well, that's going to do it for us. On behalf of Nick and myself, thank you so much for watching. You're now in sync with MilCyberSync. We'll see you again next week.